Ruthie. It's so good to see you again. How have you been?
Doing well.
All right, awesome. Okay, so last time you came in, we went through all those tests and procedures to really evaluate what was going on with you. You came in and you had low back pain, normally from sitting in class for too long, which is completely understandable. We're here for very long hours of the day, especially this quarter. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you what I've found from all of those exams along with your x-rays so that we can get you moved into your management and care plan from here on out. So first off, I want you to take a look at what a normal spine is. Let me just break down some chiropractic for you. I know that you've been under care, but I'm not sure if anybody's explained this fully. So of course, like this is a normal spine. Of course, it protects your spinal cord. And the way that we believe here at Life West is that your brain is connected through your spinal cord to the rest of your body, and it's fully communicating. And if you have any kind of interference in that system, then it's going to cause a miscommunication or not exactly perfect communication, and that's where you end up with some kind of malfunction or even kind of pain and things like that. So that's what we use for our philosophy. And so basically we're going to compare this normal spine to what we found in your spine to show you where exactly we're going to start focusing on in your care plan. So these are pictures of your x-rays that we took. And one of our findings that we found is that you have something that's called a Schmorl's node in your basically I don't know why I put this down, basically right along in this area. So where you see how there's these curves, well, transition areas can usually cause like a little bit more complication. A lot of times when people have issues, it's right there because it puts more pressure, when it's there down. So basically you have a Schmorl's node, which I'm sure you're thinking, what's that? It's nothing to be scared of. I know, I hate using technical terms because people are like, oh no, first thing you're like, I'm going to go Google this, I have cancer. Don't do that. Okay, so if you can see right in here, there's kind of like little divots where it goes up into the other vertebrae. So I have a more simple explanation for you, and that is basically like the middle of this disc right here is more of a liquid type. So basically pressure from these vertebrae have pushed the middle of your disc kind of up into it. That's where you see those divots right here. And so it's just from and it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that's taken a little bit of time to build up. So you have that, and according to that, that just is loaded your spine a little bit more, causing pressure, which can lead to where you're having the low back pain. So say you have all that pressure right here, and so everything below, of course, is going to be loaded as well too, because if there's more pressure here, everything bent down is going to start loading here. So especially as you sit and you're loading that all the time, then it's going to cause what you're getting is that lumbar pain or your low back pain right here, of course, because it's caused sitting in class. And that's like what your x-ray findings are. And then you can see that here, this is the lumbars, the ones I just showed you, the very bottom part. And you can kind of tell how it just feels like they're kind of, not only are they more compressed looking together, but they also have started having a curve. So depending on how you're sitting and whatnot, might be putting pressure on one side or another. So we're going to work with you to try to go back and prevent any kind of more curvature and reduce what you already have, because again, we want to get rid of that low back pain. This is a side view of it so that you can see that as well. And I told you that those nodes might be causing problems for your low. So you can tell right here, this is where your middle spine connects to your low spine, and this is where you're starting to get do you see how big these spaces are? And then see how small these are? So it's starting to load, and therefore it's putting more pressure, and that's what's going to cause pain, especially as you're sitting on it, because that pressure is nowhere else to go except for right there in that location. So we're going to also check that. And then So also for your test findings, I found that this is what's called lower cross syndrome, and it means a lot of times there's two different times. One time, sometimes it's your pelvis, like your hips are tilted backwards. Sometimes it's forwards, and so with you lower cross, it's as if your pelvis is tilted more forward, and you can kind of tell on the x-rays, but we don't have the full films to be able to like fully show you. So I did it through muscle testing, meaning like your hip flexors, like when we were doing certain tests, they were, you know, like kind of really tight, while your abdominals were weak as well, hamstrings, things like that. And then of course your tight thoracolumbar extensors, which you've seen your x-rays show that, as well as you feel that during your complaints. So what we're going to do is we're for sure going for your care plan. We're going to try to see you 2 times a week, you know, for about 6 to 8 weeks. We'll start reevaluating at about 6, because sometimes it's a longer process depending, but you know, like we want to increase like the amount of time that you can sit down before you have to like try to readjust. We want to change your average 3 out of 10 to say 1 out of 10, and instead of 5 days a week, like maybe 2. You know, you said that sitting on the Bosu ball helped, or like, you know, like readjusting or walking in between classes, so you're gonna want to keep doing that. But I also have handouts for you that are at home care, and they give simple instructions, and if you do them, you know, like a few times, say try to do them once a day. If you can't, try like 3 times a week, work up to it. And they give like really simple instructions on how to do them. But I mean, also you can always YouTube. Sometimes I like watching the video, because sometimes like, wait, what does that mean? So the video a lot of times helps. And these are going to help strengthen your low back as well as your core, because it's like turned off a little bit. So that will basically be stabilizing the front of your spine, while you're also help stabilizing the back. So hopefully that it will help to take away that pain, as you said. And then also with your wellness, you have kind of high stress. So I'm going to give you another handout for different kinds of stress reduction techniques, so that you can work on that. And with your at-home exercises, a lot of times like you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I get that it takes time and whatnot, but with you coming in 2 times a week, and we want to see results, we're going to get results a lot faster if you actually do these exercises. So hopefully you'll have time to do that, and hopefully that it will help increase your ability to sit longer or move or just not have pain at all. We're hopefully getting to that point. With chiropractic though, like I know that you've kind of been under some care, depending on different techniques, depends on, you know, like how they do the adjustments. So I do want to tell you, I don't with the techniques that like we're going to use, which I'll probably use like different kinds of diversified, or put you in a side posture, or if you're uncomfortable with that, we could do like a drop table. It's a little bit easier on the body, and but there's, you know, like with moving anything, there's not going to be some soreness after. But if you have any of that, you can always contact me and we can figure anything out. Do you have any questions so far with anything?
No. It's awesome to hear that my back pain can be.
Yeah, that's really what we're focusing on.